Good morning. This is Norman Bigelow again. I wanted to just discuss a little bit about fear and freedom. I've been thinking about what we're facing with Islamic terrorists, probably for many years to come. Many good people died for our freedoms, including freedom of speech. They didn't die for regulated free speech zones. They didn't die for 50, 70, or 90% free speech. It was for 100% free speech. And all that have tried to take it away should be punished severely, because that's what America's all about. And they're doing that right in front of us, with no respect at all for our freedom. And it seems like a lot of respect for the freedom of our enemies that want to kill us. If we do not use our free speech to the fullest extent, we really dishonor our veterans who died from it. Every time we go along with the PC crowd, we dishonor a veteran who's fought or died so that we could speak exactly how we feel. There's a huge threat over our land, and people are afraid, and it goes something like this. Some people can say anything about anybody: Christians, non-Christians, Jews, Hindus, atheists, gays, whatever they want. But if anybody says anything about their religion, they threaten to kill us. Well, that's not nice. And if they don't want to play nice, why would we play nice? They're dangerous people. They're nobody to fool with at all. Think of who we're dealing with. A bunch of cold-blooded killers that crucify Christians, bury them alive, kill little kids. And then they call us a decadent nation. We do not have to live in fear because of this garbage. They should live in fear for threatening us and for causing us problems. The philosopher Aristotle once said, "Those who cannot bravely face danger are the slaves of their attackers." That's so true. Well, we have no choice but to resist or to give in. And I know a lot of people like me are not going to give in. President Lincoln once said that this country won't fall from the enemy being outside, it'll fall from within. And it's progressing at a good rate right now, and we need to slow it down and then stop it. There's plenty of room for hope, though, because President Kennedy once said something I like and believe. He said that men come and go, nations rise and fall, but ideas live on, and that's so great. Because I have a great idea. Since these people are committing crimes equal to Hitler and his men, why are they not charged in international courts with crimes against humanity? Is someone going to say that those are not crimes against humanity? Of course they are. We're not even supposed to call them terrorists, yet the State Department says our founders, and many Christians, and our vets are terrorists. They shouldn't be protected because they're a religion. Nazism was a religion. It was not a cult religion, and Hitler was a savior. Hung them anyway. Every time they were convicted, they either went to jail or they went to the gallows. So we need to demand that these people are charged with crimes against humanity. The world has to see this in its true light. It can't be watered down by words and people with political ambition. It has to be exactly what it is: evil, and there needs to be a price for it. If they're willing to kill for what they believe, they damn well should be willing to die for what they believe. We have a lot of power. We don't use it. We have the power of the pen. We can write to any politicians we want. We can make their life hell on earth. We have all sorts of communication systems. We can make our demands known. And crimes against humanity is the way to start with this. I had an interesting observation the other day about the burqa. Aside from whatever function it serves, it works out well for any man who beats his woman, or wife I should say. because their wife could be black and blue from head to toe. Who would know? They wouldn't. It's a perfect cover. So I was thinking, if all the women in countries that were Sharia compliant took off their burqas, do you think it would look like the Night of the Living Dead? A bunch of battered, bloody, beaten women? Fraudulent mediums work in the dark to cover their crimes. There's nothing darker than a burqa, head to toe. And a burqa does cover a multitude of sins. Also, many people ask for special favors because they're in this religion. Every religion is entitled to the same consideration, and has to be granted the same rights, if they're consistent with the religion they're teaching, as anyone else. I've met a lot of people that are afraid, and I understand why. I've met a lot of religious people that are afraid, but I'm thinking, if you really believe in God and you believe you survive death, what's there to fear? Some politicians are telling us to be quiet. Why don't they tell the troublemakers to shut up and be quiet? Why don't they get some guts and stand up for us and tell those people, don't be threatening my American citizens. Don't lecture us. Lecture them. Tell them, you're not taking over America. We're not going to let you. And we're not going to protect you while you're here working to do just that. You're on your own. This is propaganda. It's a holy war. They've declared it a holy war. And it has to be fought inside the borders of America, because that's where they're waging the holy war, the propaganda war. And we should remember this, too. General Douglas MacArthur said, it's fatal to enter a war without the will to win it, and that's true. And I assume that applies to propaganda wars as well. It's all a war. These people say, if you insult our God or prophet, we will kill you. They're sick. They're demented. People say, convert to our religion or we'll kill you. They're just a bunch of killing, murdering cowards. I've met more people rolling around in the gutter with a hypodermic needle in their arm that are decent compared to these people. We either stand and save each other, or we give in and we become prisoners, because these people aren't fooling around with us. And we can only depend on ourselves, because the government is not doing their job at this time. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, fear defeats more people than any one thing in the world. That's true. Fear paralyzes people. And we can't afford to be afraid. If we're afraid, we lose. They can't win unless we let them win. They're executing the doctrines of men, not a loving God. The God of this universe requires only loyalty and love. It's the gods of men who require this blood sacrifice. And that's what we're dealing with, men who think they're God. But if a person's a resistor, they can kill you, they can take your body, but they can't take your heart, your mind, and your soul. That you can leave behind to the most beautiful woman in the universe, Lady Liberty. And these people can rest assured we're not going to cover her in a burqa. We're not going to cover her head, and neither are the terrorists, because we have people that will stop them. And they're good at what they do. We just need to unleash them. And for those of us in civilian life, we can start applying medicine for the spiritual sickness by demanding and getting charges of crimes against humanity for these people. Put them in the right category. And while we're at it, take a few leaders that are helping them and put them there too. I always like this. This is by Father Dennis Edward O'Brien. The United States Marine Corps. It is the soldier, not the reporter, who has given us freedom of press. It is the soldier, not the poet, who has given us freedom of speech. It is the soldier, not the organizer, who gave us the freedom to demonstrate. It is the soldier who salutes the flag, who serves beneath the flag, and whose coffin is draped by the flag, who allows the protester to burn the flag. And that's true. So I don't know why people knock our military, because they're the ones that are going to save you in the end. Even if you do treat them mean, which is amazing to me, because I would not save you if you treated me that way and I was a soldier. I probably wouldn't make a good soldier then. But you wouldn't get anything out of me. So Jihad Joe should know there are millions of people in America that refuse to be silenced, especially in our own country. We'll never be shackled by them or anyone else on the face of the earth. If you get depressed about all this, think about what Mahatma Gandhi said. And this is true. When I despair, I remember that through all history, the ways of truth and love have always won. There have been tyrants and murderers, and for a time they seem invincible. But in the end, they always fall. Think of it. They always fall. Everything that we're dealing with in country, for us as citizens, deals with willpower. We do not need this kind of stuff in our country. We do not need little kids worrying that someone's going to kill their parents or them, or some little young girls going to school worrying if they take over, some 80-year-old man is going to have sex with her because they're going to be married. There should be no discussion of that. This country at least has to rise to the level of being decent. And when we allow these people to speak and walk all over us, we're not being decent to anyone. And I get the distinct impression that politicians would like to sidestep this. They can have the good life now, and someone can deal with them after these politicians have gone. The next guy in line, the next girl in line. The problem is, the longer it goes on, the deeper in the hole we get. And we are buried by a ton of false propaganda from false prophets using useful idiots. Have a nice day.